Hey Explorers, it's Jessica, and today on Exploring the Local Life, I'm going to interview a couple of RVers that have done the Amazon CamperForce. That's right, it's not just going to be general stuff, but from real, actual people who have done it. So guys, today I am interviewing America and Shea from Two Moms and a Trailer because they have experience doing the Amazon CamperForce. So we're going to get some answers from them. They have two boys and two dogs, and I don't know how they do it, so they're going to tell us today.
We've been full-time on the road for 4 years, since 2016 technically is when we actually moved in, and then we actually hit the road in 2017. Our trailer is 37 feet long. It's a Grand Design 3250 BH. That means BH stands for bunkhouse. So we do have those two separate bedroom spaces for us and our kids. And we have 3 slide outs on this trailer. It's pretty spacious. I'd say about 300 square feet or so.
Nice.
Yeah, and we've been work camping since the beginning. That is our sole source of income, and Amazon actually started us on the work camping path. 2 boys, they're now 10 and 4. And then we have 2 dogs. Our big dog actually has been with us since the very, very beginning. Our small one's actually a quarantine puppy that we adopted during the lockdown last year. And before that, we had another small Chihuahua who passed away 2 years ago. So we've had 2 dogs since the very beginning, but we have a new dog now.
So how many seasons have you guys actually worked for the Amazon CamperForce, and why do you keep coming back?
So I started doing CamperForce in 2017, and when we first started, and I did the regular season CamperForce, and then I did the return season. So that's technically 2 seasons for me. So I've done around 6 seasons now.
Right. And so I stayed home with the kids that first season. And then after that, I've worked all of the seasons with her. I have not done the return season yet, but I've worked 3 peak seasons with her. So
we keep coming back because
the money.
We
Bottom line is the money.
We make good money. That's the time where we get to make money,
right?
Because the summertime we don't make a lot of money, but we get to make a lot more.
Summertime is about experiences. These RV park jobs do not pay that well, but they're usually including a free site. So we're still getting that free, living space. And then we're not making a ton of money, but we're able to kind of just have like an 8-month long vacation. So we're just having fun in the summertime. And then wintertime's when you fill up that bank account. And Amazon helps with that.
And can you explain the difference? You said, so there's 2 seasons. You said a peak season, and what was that? Return season? What does that mean?
Yeah. Well, they used to have where you could do both. The return season is when you go to work at a return center where everybody's returning their stuff after Christmas.
Yeah.
So you kind of go through all that. Yeah. The regular peak season is, during the holiday season. They run it from usually starts in October or September, and it runs till the end of December.
Right.
And the return season starts in the end of December and runs to about mid-February to end of February.
Right.
You could do 2 before both of them if you wanted, but now they do it so you can do either or now.
Why did you decide to apply for the Amazon CamperForce in the first place? Did you hear about it just on a whim? Did you hear other people's stories, or did you have some other reason?
My parents are actually full-timers as well, and they had been on the road for several years before we actually, took on this adventure. And they had met some friends on the road who their daughter worked for Amazon. And she mentioned that Amazon had a camping or a work camping program. And at that time, we didn't really know much about work camping, but Amazon work camping, it sounded like a good paying job. It sounded like something interesting. So really, we just kind of got on the computer and just started researching on it. And there wasn't a ton of information, but America just went ahead and applied for it, and pretty quickly got hired, got offered that job. We were still in California in our home state at that time with the baby, with the 5-year-old. And we're like, oh my gosh, are we doing this? And she actually got hired that first season in Kentucky. And we're like, you know what, let's just go for it. So my parents and their trailer and us with our trailer, we took off from California to Kentucky. We hit 18 states in about 3 months and just kind of had like the biggest vacation of our lifetime. And then once we got to Kentucky, worked CamperForce there, fell in love with the lifestyle. And we said, we have to figure out how to make this into a permanent thing because I don't want to go back, So, but Amazon really was our first introduction to work camping and what this lifestyle is, where we were actually able to meet other RVers and kind of immerse ourselves into this community. and absolutely fall in love with it.
Yeah, and when I first started Amazon in 2017, they only offer honestly two choices. They gave me two choices. Do you want to go to Tennessee or do you want to go to Kentucky?
Yeah.
And I just kind of picked Kentucky just for the heck of it.
And the pay was a lot less too.
yeah,
Then that was before their $15 an hour pay hike.
so it was, and now they have a lot more
a lot more
places to go.
benefits and a lot more locations.
What are the locations actually? I don't.
Ooh,
Yeah.
This year,
I don't even know all of them off the top of my head. I mean,
Well-
it used to be Kentucky, Tennessee,
and then they added like Indiana and Arizona, and now this year they actually have about
there's
27
27
sites.
locations this year. They expanded the program massively, but they changed a few other things too, so it's getting a little complicated. But they've added everything from Maryland to Colorado to California, Oregon. There's locations all over the country. They added Texas. There's tons and tons and tons of new locations, and that's all available on the CamperForce website for Amazon. It's having a little map on there with all the different states and locations laid out for you. So there's 27 different locations now, but they did change a few things this year. Previously, Amazon would contract with RV parks in the area, and then you would just call them and say, hey, I'm coming in with Amazon, and make a reservation and then show up. Now, they're no longer doing that. Now we have to find our own campgrounds. And it used to be Amazon would just pay for your campground, and now they're giving you $120 per person, per week. So it's good for couples. You're actually getting a little bit more money, but not so good for singles. They're actually getting less money, and it's now taxable income, which kind of sucks. And we're now learning. We've chosen a good location, I guess, because we actually found a campground pretty quickly. We already have reservations and stuff, coming for our upcoming season for this year, for the Christmas time. But we're seeing online that there's a lot of people in the community who are having a really hard time finding RV parks, or even finding ones that have spaces open, finding affordable ones. Amazon did not do their research this year.
Yeah, because it used to be right that you would get like, I understood it this way,
right,
but I could be wrong, that you would get a campground and they would pay for everything and you wouldn't have to worry about it. You just had a space, it was paid for, and you just went to work and came home.
Exactly. Originally, before the pay hike, before they put us all up to $15 an hour, it was just a free site. You just show up, get a free site, make a reservation, that's it. Then after they did the pay hike up to the $15 an hour, it's been changed to $550 per month, but that was per couple, per single. If you were a couple, you still only got $550, and that was it. So it was just basically per RV site, and you automatically, again, Amazon just paid for it, but they had certain campgrounds set up that you had to go to, and if the campground was over $550 per month, you were responsible for the extra amount. We just chose campgrounds that were less than $550, so we didn't have to pay anything. But yeah, this year it's just, you got to find your own campground. They're giving you $120 per paycheck, but it's taxable, so probably about $100 per paycheck, and that's it. You just got to figure it out. And a lot of people are having issues with that. So.
And when did they do the pay hike to $15 an hour?
Like 2 years ago?
Back in 2018,
I think it was 2000.
That was the first year that you worked, 2018. We had chosen to go to Indiana because it was going to be a higher pay, and then a couple weeks into the season, they said, "Oh, everybody in Amazon completely, the whole, not just CamperForce, but everybody. They upped their starting pay to $15 an hour."
Right.
So we were worried that we're not going to get that, but then they said, "No, CamperForce also gets that."
Right.
But they did the $550 per site per month, and then they lower our what is it called, our bonus. So it used to be $1.50 for each hour overtime you work, and $1 for regular hours. So now it's 50 cents per regular hour and $1 for every overtime hour they work.
Right.
So
you still get the bonus, it's just a little bit less. But this whole campground thing this year, like I said, we found a location that's like 600, 650, something like that. So it's not anything too dramatic. We're not too worried about it. But there's people who are saying that there's not even RV parks in the locations of these jobs. So CamperForce really dropped the ball, and I'm really disappointed in that. But the program itself is absolutely amazing, and I hope that they just figure out these issues next year and kind of get those amended for the following seasons, because it's awesome that they have expanded the program so much. And this year they're offering part-time. They've never offered part-time before.
Positions.
It's always been full-time positions. And then this year they're offering part-time. So that's also a really, really neat thing that they're doing, because there's a lot of people that just can't do it full-time, or they have pets, or they're only looking for part-time work because they don't need a ton of money. You know, and they're still offering the $120 per week, even if you're working part-time. So that's really nice.
Yeah, that is. What was the application process like? And do you have any tips for someone that's new to this process and is looking to get hired?
The first thing is, people ask all the time, where do I apply? Because Amazon hires tons of seasonal people, but we are not just seasonal people. We are CamperForce people. Those are two separate things. It's not just seasonal, it's seasonal CamperForce. So make sure if you're looking to apply for CamperForce and get the CamperForce benefits, that you're applying through the CamperForce website, not just the regular Amazon website. So type in Amazon CamperForce, and that correct website is going to pop up. Apply through them, and then you're actually getting all of the Amazon CamperForce benefits, including your site pay, your bonus, you know, all of that sort of thing. But the actual process, go ahead, baby.
Yeah, first thing is to find the Amazon CamperForce website. You can click on it, go to it, apply for jobs, and then it's just an application process, you know, that you have to do.
Pretty simple, online application.
And then, you know, they'll send you an email to let you know, okay, yeah, you can apply, you're eligible to be hired by us. So then they'll send you that, and then you can choose your site where you want to go, and if they're still open, the available sites, because they only put so many people at different sites.
Right.
So make sure that there's a site for you and that you want to go to, and then they'll give you a contingency letter. So that letter is all contingent on you being able to pass a drug test and a background check.
Right.
So, and
then another thing to mention too is a lot of people are confused when they first apply, because you get an email right away saying that you're signed up for an online signed up for an orientation, a new hire orientation, and it's usually several months before you actually start working.
July or
and
June.
They're like, do I have to drive to Colorado or Oregon or wherever to go into this orientation? No. Read the fine print. It's an online orientation. It's a virtual hire event, and you just watch a video online, and that's it. And then about 30 days out from your actual start date, Amazon CamperForce will contact you to go ahead and set up your drug test. And you'll go to a location wherever you are. They'll ask for your zip code, and they'll send you wherever you are, the closest location to go ahead and do your drug test. They pay for all of that, as well as your background screen. All of that is done, and then you're good to go once you show up. So they take care of everything, and it's all done on location wherever you are in the country, no matter how far away you are from the actual working site. They'll set it up for you.
Then they'll tell you when your actual start date is a couple of weeks in advance. So they'll give you usually like a time frame. This is where you're going to start.
You'll know a time frame like way ahead of time
until they contact.
The CamperForce is an actual separate entity within Amazon. So they have an amazing team of people that when you have questions and concerns, you actually email directly to the CamperForce team, and they get back to you very quickly.
Okay.
But Amazon is very diverse in hiring people. That background check, don't let that scare you. We've seen ex-felons working there. There's LGBT people working there, obviously. There's black, there's white, there's brown, there's yellow, there's pink, there's every race you could possibly imagine. There's people speaking all different languages. They are very, very open and accepting of all people. So Amazon does not discriminate.
When is the open season for hiring? I guess it depends on whether you're going to be doing peak or what was that post? Return? What?
Return.
So they do the application all at the same time. So this year, the application process actually already opened last week. But they usually open the applications for returning campers first.
Right.
So we actually applied about 2 weeks ago.
Alumni is your returning campers. That's their jargon for it. And if you've worked a season before, you actually have to have worked the last season. So if I worked 2 years and then I didn't work for a season, I'm no longer alumni. You have to continue working every single season to have that priority to go ahead and apply for the following season.
Yeah. So then we get to pick our locations first.
Right.
We get first pick. And then they open up the application process for the general public a week later.
Yeah.
So,
and we're talking like spots fill up fast. Like when they first added Arizona, not what was that, a year ago? That was 2019 when they first added Arizona, because all of your locations were cold places: Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee. We've done it all, you know. And then they added Arizona, and everybody wanted Arizona. We literally were like sitting there holding our phones and applying the second the applications opened, and then she got in and I didn't. So it was like, what do we do now? You know, but they fixed it. I got in. So, but yeah, you have to apply very, very quickly. Those positions fill up super fast.
Yeah, they'll send you a text message up until the second. Be like, okay, applications are open now.
Exactly.
And
if
then you can go.
If you go onto the CamperForce website, there's a number that you're able to text on there, and then they'll text you alerts on when the applications are open and what's going on. If there's anything wrong with your application, they'll
And
send
is that
you
for everybody or just alumni?
That's for everybody. Yeah. Everybody.
Mm-hmm. This is all stuff I have no idea about. Look at this, getting insider information here.
Right, exactly.
What kind of hours and what kind of jobs have you actually done with the Amazon CamperForce? And were you able to pick them, or did they just say, all right, we need these folks, so you're assigned there?
So in general, we've only worked nights up until this last season. So we've always done night shift. And previously, night shift was actually really good because our kids were smaller. Our youngest was still taking naps. So it was nice, you know, to work those nights and then come home and take naps with him, that sort of thing. But this last season, we actually got on day shift. And at first we were freaking out. We're like, what, days? Like, this is so weird. Amazon is night shift. But day shift was amazing. Okay. It was awesome. We actually got to sleep when the kids were sleeping. We got to be awake when the kids were awake. That was great. You know, schooling with the kids and everything else was easier. Still super challenging because you're tired and you're gone a lot, but it was easier and it was more possible. We were actually on a much more normal schedule. Say majority of CamperForce is going to be night shift. So be prepared for that. On your application process, they give you the choice to say, what shift do you want? What days would you like to work? They do ask you, but they're not going to hold you to that. Obviously, it is for whatever that facility needs. Yeah. If they need us on night shift, they're going to put us on night shift. If they need us on day shift, they're going to put us on day shift. But their regular employees who work year round do have priority on those shifts. So if they're choosing day shift and day shift fills up with them, they're going to put us on night shift.
Yeah, this year, I guess, where we were, they gave us day shift because we were returning campers.
Because we had worked, you know,
and then
previous seasons.
The new people got the night shift.
The new people That's got how the they night did shift. It.
So, but
it
not
really
every
depends.
Facility is the same. Every facility is different. So it just depends on the facility and what their needs are.
Right.
Exact. So
if you do have children or pets where a couple would have to work opposite shifts, if there's extenuating circumstances for that, it's not just, oh, I want to work day shift or I want to work night shift. I have a reason why I need to work one or the other. They will work with you. We actually work the same shift because my parents are full-timers. They meet up with us in the winter, spending the kids' birthdays and stuff with us. They help us out watching the kids and letting us sleep, you know, while we're working at Amazon. So that's definitely an advantage for us.
As far as jobs, they usually, if you're in a fulfillment center, they'll put us picking, which is filling, you know, getting people's orders and stuff like that. And then stowing, you know, getting all the product, putting it on the shelves for pickers to pick.
To put it simple, picking is outbound. We're sending items out, and stowing is inbound. It's items that are coming in.
Yeah, and sometimes they do. I know this last year in like the facility in Reno, everybody got to be packing. They got to packing products to go out. You know, so that's good. We've done that before.
There's also ICQA where people are kind of going through and like auditing bins and making sure that things are put where they're supposed to be, making sure that there's you know, safety and everything's congruent, you know, that sort of thing as well.
Yeah, some of the campers got to do that this last year at one of the facilities.
Right.
So it's just all depends on what they need at the facility. But you don't get to pick your job.
Personally, we've done picking, packing, and gift wrap at different fulfillment centers. And gift wrap is the best. Go to gift wrap. Okay, it's easy. You just get to stand there. Your rate's not so high. And yeah, gift wrap is awesome.
You were talking about the application process. You know, there's all these different locations, and then you know what kind of shifts are available and what kind of jobs are available at that location. vary. So do you know ahead of time, like, oh, in Arizona, they need pickers. So if you want to be, or is that like a thing?
Yeah.
Or
There's actually a sheet on the website, and it tells you some of the facilities what they are. Like I know this year they added a facility where there's going to be Amazon Fresh, where you get to go and actually pick groceries and stuff for
Yeah.
In
people.
Colorado.
In Colorado, I believe it is. And so we are actually doing a return
That's about
center.
the only thing you know ahead of time. Is it fulfillment? Is it Amazon Fresh? Is it a return center? Once you actually get to the facility, there's multiple jobs within whatever type it is. There's still multiple jobs, and so for the most part, they're putting us into picking. But I am so happy I'm not picking this year. Because as she was saying, and I rudely interrupted, we are at a returns facility this year, and I've never done returns, so I'm super excited for that.
So as far as a shift, how many hours is that, and does it vary? I know that there's opportunities for overtime and that sort of thing. So if you could explain your experience and how that's worked, and if you get to pick that also.
Yeah. So a typical shift is 10 hour long. So you usually work 4 days, 10 hours, you're 40 hours, and then you're done at the beginning of the season.
So 3 days off.
Yeah, 3 days off. So that's awesome. At the beginning of the season, once they start needing more people, you usually do mandatory overtime. So as campers, we are mandatory to work 50 hours a week. 50 hours. You can work more. You can work up to 60 hours if you would like.
The regular employees,
they have to work.
Not CamperForce, their shifts will go from either 10 hours to 12 hours, or they're actually working 6 days a week, 10-hour shifts. So they have a lot of mandatory hours. But as campers, we are not required to do that. Nobody can force you to do it. We're only actually required to do the 50 hours a week. If you want to do more than that, you can. And that all pays that overtime, double time for holidays, weekends, whatever. They pay you for it. That's where you make money.
Well, my experience I've had where I had to work 5 days, 12 hours, or then 6 days, 10 hours. It just depends on the facility, how they work their overtime.
But typically you usually have those 2 days off together. You'll have 2 consecutive days off together, and then you'll work your 5 days, 10-hour shift. That's your typical work week once the actual peak season starts.
Yeah.
And usually Amazon will have you come in a couple weeks prior to their official start of peak.
You get used to working all those hours.
Right.
It is a lot of hard work.
They do slowly introduce you to it too. The last couple of years, that's kind of been a more a bigger thing. They'll start you off like on 4-hour days, and then a 6-hour day, and then an 8-hour day, and then a 10-hour day. So there's kind of a little bit more of like an introduction, where previously it was just like, bam, you're in.
Once peak starts, that's when the overtime, and you're working more hours. What does that look like as far as like free time for you guys as a family? Even when like you have to run errands, grocery shopping, and things like that, and you guys are working the same shift. So how does that fit into your life, I guess?
Right. You still typically have those 2 days off together, usually consecutively in a row. Just like when we're actually work camping in the summer, we always try to just take at least 1 day per week that we go out and do something big, whether that's a museum or, a day out to the beach, a day out hiking. It can be something that costs money, something that doesn't cost money. It doesn't matter. It's just 1 day out per week that we're planning to go somewhere for the whole day and have a family adventure together. Rest of the week is committed to adulting and cleaning and cooking and schooling and working and everything else. So even with Amazon, that still fits into that schedule. We just kind of try to plan a little bit more. I would say our family is very spontaneous with a lot of things, but during Amazon time, you kind of have to plan a little bit more, because you do have to work around sleeping and recovering and cleaning and paying the bills. And, all of those things are still functional parts of your life. And then of course, schooling and everything else on top of that.
But what does that kind of look like for anybody who's RVing that's looking at this, that has children? Like, how does that, in your experience, work? Or even with folks that that have kids? Like a lot of Amazon CamperForce employees, are they families who have children?
For our experience with Amazon CamperForce, we've only encountered a couple other families that had kids, and for the most part, I would say majority of them only have one parent working and not both, because it is a very demanding job. And it was a lot easier when just she was working and not me, but having a double income coming in for that holiday season is a lot better, obviously financially. So it's worth the burden for those couple of months. But yeah, you do fall behind on things sometimes. My parents do help out a lot with that, with reading and your typical book work. We also kind of try during the holiday season to do a lot of, like, I guess you call it road schooling, which is more like the unschooling kind of thing, where we're not focusing too much on that book work and sitting down. It's more about your experiences and getting out and seeing and doing things. After Amazon ends, usually we have enough money to just kind of take off for the next 2 to 3 months. And then we're really able to finish up the school year with a bang and go on a vacation, have that one-on-one time with the kids and just kind of recover and spend a lot of really, intimate quality time with our kids and family together. This last season, we were not able to do that because of the pandemic. We were just broke. Everything hit us super, super hard. But usually that's our typical working.
Amazon by no means is it easy.
No, it's not an easy job.
We're not telling people, oh yeah, go work there because it's easy money.
No,
it's not. It's hard. You walk a lot. Their motto, I think, is work hard, have fun, and make history. That's what they like. Because you do work hard.
Yeah.
But
my joke with Amazon is most jobs will welcome you in with like a typical office location welcomes you in with a bowl full of like lollipops or candy on the counter. Amazon welcomes you in with a bowl full of Band-Aids and some BioFreeze and some Advil. Okay, like that's what you're signing up for.
Wow. So is it true that you'll like walk like 10 to 12 miles a day or something on a shift, or is that like exaggerated?
Yeah. It is. Yes. No, it's not exaggeration.
It's not exaggeration. I think the most she's ever walked was 25,000 steps.
25. I know. 25 miles.
Oh, 25 miles. Sorry.
I did 25 miles.
25 miles in one shift.
A 12-hour shift, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Is there a sense of community between the Amazon CamperForce workforce, or like, are you guys separated, or does it depend on shift, or what? I guess what's the feel there? And you guys are spread apart in different campgrounds too, right? How does that look as a community, if there is one?
I think, especially in my first and second years, we would sit everybody at the CamperForce. We would usually sit together during lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, we have a whole table, take up the whole table, and everybody that's sitting at the table is their CamperForce, and so that was kind of cool. You get to know people. You get to talk to them, hear about their travels and stuff like that. And
Amazon also gives us CamperForce t-shirts every single season. So people are always happy to kind of show off their CamperForce Amazon t-shirts. And everyone else is like, ooh, where'd you get that? What's CamperForce? And then you're answering all those questions. And
and people get together and stuff like that at the campground. They'll have typically before COVID, before this year, they will have like potlucks and stuff like that during Thanksgiving
and
Christmas time and stuff like that. You get to know a lot of people, so that's kind of like one of the coolest things I think about CamperForce. You get to meet lots of, and they usually are older people than us, but that doesn't matter. We still keep in touch with a lot of
everyone's nice to us. Everyone's been accepting of us. So yeah, I think there's definitely a sense of community. With CamperForce at the facilities, I would say that the facilities themselves are not always educated on the CamperForce program. So the workers typically don't understand who or why we're there and what we are. And then once you kind of are explaining it, they think that you work for Amazon year round and you just move around to facilities. And we're like, no, that's not how this works. Or they think that we're just, a big caravan of people that are just driving around and working together and going back home and roasting hot dogs and singing Kumbaya. And and it's like, that's not really how this works either. Like, I have my kids and I have my own life and I have my house.
So for anybody that's looking to, apply for the Amazon CamperForce, do you have any specific tips or advice that you haven't already kind of covered?
I would say the main thing is just the physical part of it, because people always try to say that there's no warning for that. And there is, okay, it's in the application. It's in all of their paperwork. It's there for the very, very first day. They're telling you you're going to be walking, you're going to be bending and lifting and stooping and pushing. And it's just the way it is. It's physical. It's a warehouse job, and they expect you to actually work for your money. They give you good benefits, they pay you wonderful, but yes, you have to work for it. You don't just sit there and get paid.
You mentioned benefits. Can you speak more on that? I know that there's, they give you that allowance for now. It's an allowance for campground.
Right.
And you can do work overtime. And I know there's bonuses. I know there are some other benefits.
Right. There's the bonus at the end of the season. And then if you work long enough, we actually do qualify for medical benefits and everything else through Amazon. So I think it's what, a 90-day probation?
90 day. Yeah, 90 day. After 90 days, you qualify for medical.
Yeah.
Or some people, after you leave, and if you had worked the 9 days, you get the COBRA benefits.
The COBRA benefits, if you wanted to sign up for that, that's all available to you as well. Yeah. And then, of course, if you're hurt or something happens to you while you're working there, Amazon always backs you up on that. They will take care of you if you need anything.
They will send you to the doctor if you need to.
Right. Yeah. We've had several friends, through our time at Amazon that have gotten injured or had some, stress injuries, things like that. And Amazon always backs it up and takes care of you on that.
As far as you guys, America and Shea, where is the best place for folks viewing this can follow you and find out what you're doing? I know that you covered a lot about your work camping experience. Where can they find you? Where's the best place for that?
We are 2 Moms in a Trailer, and that's the number 2 Moms in a Trailer. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we're on TikTok. So all of those offer, some insight into our lives. We do post about our work camping experiences, our travel experiences, homeschooling, being 2 moms out here in this world. All of that is a part of our life and our online community. And of course, our inboxes are always open as well for anyone who has any questions or any concerns or just needs that private conversation. We're here.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for joining us and being so open about your life and your experience, because I know seeing it online and reading about it from like a corporate perspective is completely different than actually somebody's real experience. So thank you. I know that helped me, and I know it's helping whoever's watching this today. So thank you.
For sure. No problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video helped you figure out whether Amazon CamperForce might be a good fit for you and your full-time RV life. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I will respond. And if I can't answer it, I will reach out to 2 Moms in a Trailer and see if they've got some answers for us. Again, don't forget to follow them and make sure that you subscribe to the channel by hitting the bell, getting notifications, and we will catch you on the very next video. Thank you so much. Bye.